Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So the WBC heavyweight champion, not so sure how long he's going to hold on to that since he's supposed to be retired. Tyson Fury revealed that he nearly retired in the aftermath of the trilogy with Deontay Wilder last October. Now, we know they fought in Las Vegas. Tyson Fury retained his title with that 11th round knockout of Wilder, in which they both gave their all. But the thing is, although Tyson Fury knocked Wilder down in the third, he suffered 2 knockdowns in that fight. Okay? And they came in the 4th round. But Fury was able to rally back in the second half to score 2 more knockdowns before getting Wilder out of there in the 11th round. But Tyson Fury has gone on in several interviews to explain that, he really was rattled from Wilder's punches. And he said it took everything in him to not show it. But in several rounds, he said he was hurt over and over again. He's like, and the bell saved him. I just said this in a video. And Tyson Fury is saying this in an interview now. But he said because of those punches he took from Deontay Wilder, okay? He said he feared that he may have suffered some kind of brain injury. Now, that's believable because he took some hard shots and both of them were hitting behind the head. Okay? He said it was just hunky-dory, but let's just skip back. He said it wasn't just hunky-dory, and let's just all hold hands together and celebrate and skip back to the changing room. He said he kept feeling the back of his head, and he had these huge lumps on the back of his head that felt like fists. And he said he didn't know if he had brain damage. He didn't know what was up, but he said he was afraid for his life. He said because he had never had those kind of massive swellings on the back of his head. And he said it was something that really made him feel like, this isn't normal. I don't like the way I'm feeling. My head is feeling, my body's feeling. And this could end up in a situation where either immediately or long term, he ends up with some kind of brain damage. He said because of just that, what he experienced, he just felt it wasn't normal, especially for the type of swelling he said he had in the back of his head. Now, we know Tyson Fury will say anything, and he likes to keep his name out there. Who knows, he may be trying to do Wilder a favor by throwing stuff out to the media right now, talking about things like this. No one knows when it comes to Tyson Fury. But I do believe that he took some damage that probably didn't stand out, like how the knockdowns with Deontay Wilder getting knocked down and knocked out, that kind of overshadowed everything that happened in that fight. But if you go back and watch that fight, there were some things happening in there with Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury was able to conceal most of it. With Deontay Wilder, whenever he get hit with something, he more or less just totally unraveled. But Tyson Fury was able to kind of keep it together a little bit better. But obviously, Tyson Fury was getting hurt just as much as Wilder. He was just able to not show it. Okay, and that is just hard to do. Miguel Cotto was another one who had a stone face and never showing if he was really hurt until you seen him wobble or something like that, or he starts to retreat. So Tyson Fury has a good game face. But Tyson Fury says, he was very concerned because he said he got put down twice in that fight. And he said he felt like he shouldn't have fighting a guy like Wilder. He knew he had power, but he should have never gone down twice. And he said, you know what? I think it may be time for me to call it the day. He said, because to get in that ring and to go down like that, maybe he just, was slipping a little bit. But we know that he came back and he fought Dillian White, and he got White out of there with no problem, man. It was a very entertaining fight. But that just lets you know, Tyson Fury, what he did to Dillian White, that just speaks volumes on what Deontay Wilder really brings to the table. It really does. And it also is going to speak volumes if Tyson Fury comes out here and he fights for the undisputed distinction, which I think he is. Many observers believe Tyson Fury is going to come back and fight the winner of Usyk and AJ. AJ Fury will be a much bigger fight. Usyk and Fury will be a big fight because it's for the undisputed distinction, but it's not as big as AJ and Fury fighting each other. Both fellow countrymen, both have no problem fighting over in Saudi Arabia or in England. Both of those guys will probably make $100, $150 million each. crazy. But when you think about what Tyson Fury is saying, fighting a guy like Deontay Wilder, you know, he seems to be giving him his props, he's giving him his respect. He gave it to him after the fight, but he's now seems to be talking about some of the things he went through subsequent to the fight that obviously to this day kind of lingers in the back of his head, like, okay, what about me 5-10 years down the road taking shots like that from Deontay Wilder? We all know Deontay Wilder could crack. He damn near knocked everybody out, okay? But when you see him getting there, fight a guy like Tyson Fury who was able to stand up to those shots, you know, there's still a small pocket of people who question Deontay Wilder's power, okay? They still question his power. But when Tyson Fury comes out, which we know he's a showman, he's all about gamesmanship, he's a BSer, but when Tyson Fury comes out and he starts saying these things, I tend to believe some of it. I tend to believe there's some truth in what he's saying. And that could be the reason why his wife is like, you know what, just stop now. He got in there with White. You didn't take any damage. No damage at all against Dillian White. Stop now. Because he gets in there against AJ. He can't help but expect AJ to land at some point in time because he's much bigger than Dillian White, has a much longer reach, and he's much more powerful. And Dillian White has a big left hand, but Joshua is much more powerful. So you can't help but expect Joshua to get something off on Fury. Now, what if there's something lingering there as far as some kind of damage to Tyson Fury, right? Where something is detached or just barely hanging on. These are things that have happened in boxing, where there's been something detached as far as the brain, right? And it just takes them getting in another fight, and it's not even a hard shot. It could be a jab. It causes whatever it is to detach, rupture, whatever it is, and now we have somebody dead in the ring. So that would be horrible for any fighter, anyone who's gone through that, but any of these guys who we love to watch fight, for him to get in there and take a shot like that and then just collapse in the ring and then find out there was something that was damage that was incurred, obviously in one of the fights with Deontay Wilder. That would be horrible. But then again, he's done a lot of sparring too, so if there was some kind of injury like that, you think it would have been, triggered or exacerbated, something like that would have come out. But then again, sparring's not fighting. But it could be the reason why he decided to, hey, call it quits. And his wife urging him just stop after the Wilder fight because of whatever he was going through. He may not disclose it all. Only he and she know what the hell he was going through at home, trying to sleep at night, not being able to sleep, if there was any kind of bleeding through the nose. Who knows what was going on? But only he knows, only she knows. And he may, if that's the case, he may truly not return to the ring. But if he does, then it's safe to assume that he's just talking shit. Maybe he just had a bad headache. But if he doesn't, may want to say he's telling the truth here, and he's gonna put his health first, which he should, because that would have to be the only reason Tyson Fury wouldn't come back and take a shot at history, legacy. Okay, yeah, he's owned all the belts. Okay, that's one thing. Tyson Fury has owned all the belts, but never held all the belts at one time. He's never held them all at one time. And that is what we feel he should come back and chase. But at the end of the day, safety first, your health first. And if he knows something we don't, he doesn't need to come back in that ring and face Joshua or Usyk, but especially a guy like AJ. And he and Wilder just need to leave each other alone, because I think one of them will end up dead, because that's just the kind of damage they inflicted on each other. But that being said, that's the latest and greatest with Tyson Fury. Man said he felt something on the back of his head, these huge lumps like fists. And I think there was something that was going on with him then. I think there's still some lingering effects from that fight now. And I think that concerns him. And that could be the reason why he doesn't continue with his career. But that's just an assumption. But anyway, thanks for your support. Please like, subscribe. And I guess they got a ring bell icon, right? See, I'm not even up on all that because I'm so busy with my kids, man. But, click on the bell or whatever the hell it is people do. And just appreciate you guys hanging around for the ride. Let's try to get this channel up to 1,000, man. We're almost there, and it really feels good. But you guys keep safe. Shout out to the veterans, and as always, I'm in the breach.